Hey, it's Michael from Mark Smarter. In this How to Dynamo segment, we're going to look at selecting elements by name using Dynamo. So oftentimes we need to get elements from the model. And there are a bunch of ways we can do this in Dynamo. We can select elements directly using the Select Model Element node. We can use the All Elements of Category or the All Elements of Class nodes. There's a whole bunch of different ways. But there are times when we want to select a specific element or elements. And maybe these elements can't be selected directly in the model, like if we want to get wall types or sheets or specific views. Now in this video, I'm going to show you a node combination you can use to select any element in the model by name. So as long as you have its name and you know its category, you can get the element. Does that sound good? All right, let's switch on over to Dynamo and get started. So I'm using Revit 2024 and I'm here in Dynamo. And let's say I want to get a specific view or views by name. And let's say I'm going to get these views by name and then I want to put them on a sheet or I want to change some parameters or something. So I can do this in Dynamo, but it takes a little bit of a combination of nodes. So I'm going to walk you through that sequence. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to get all of my views. So I'm going to go to Revit and Selection. And I'm going to choose the All Elements of Category node here. So I have to provide an input for the category, and I can do this two ways. The easiest way really is to use the Categories node. So I can click down and choose my category. I'm going to type V to select views, and then that's going to give me my category. Now, if I'm going to be using this Dynamo script in multiple versions of Dynamo and different Revit versions, then sometimes that category, that selection jumps around. So it's not always consistent from one version of Dynamo to the next. So the other way that I can do this is I can actually go and use the category by name node. So if I go into elements, I'm in Revit, so Revit elements, and I go to category, I can use this by name node right here. And I'm going to just use a code block and I'll put my category name, which is views. I enter that into my code block and then I can plug that in. Both of these are going to get me the category, which is ultimately what I want. But this bottom version here is going to be a little bit more stable because I've hard-coded the category. I'm not relying on this categories dropdown, which can change from version to version. So that's the one I'm going to choose right here. So if I give this a run, this is going to grab all of the views in my model. I can see I have a whole bunch. It's actually also going to grab the view templates as well. So what's interesting in here, you can see that there are some null values, and a null value means it's just kind of an empty value. So interestingly enough, when I get all the views in my model, Revit sometimes is going to return some of those null values. Now why that matters, why I'm bringing that up, is if I want to get the view names, and again, I'm going to use the view names to kind of filter for my specific views. I might get a warning here in Dynamo. So I'm going to go again to Revit Elements. I'm going to go down to the Element subcategory, and I'm looking for the Element Name node, which is right here. So I'm going to grab that node, I'm going to put it on, and let me connect that to my All Elements of Category. So what this will do is, I'm going to just change my run mode here real quick. We'll set this to automatic. Okay, you can see here, as soon as I set it to automatic, it's giving me an error because it's getting the names of all of the views. I have some null views here, so it's going to show me that it has an error. It can't find the name there. So this is item 18. It's trying to get the name of a null view, and it doesn't have a name. So that's why we're getting this particular warning right here. So I can kind of work around this. I can either just say, oh, that's okay, that's fine, I'm not going to worry about it. Or I can actually add a little combination here to avoid those null values. And the way that I will do that, I'm going to use a node called isNull. And what the isNull node does is it returns a true false if a value in a list is null. So I can see when I give this a run, most of these are false, meaning that object is not null. But 18, I can see, is null, so it returns a true value. So if I want to clean out all of those null values, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that isNull as a Boolean mask. So I can go to my filter by Boolean mask, which is going to be under list modify. So if I take filter by Boolean mask, I have my mask of true false values from isNull, so I can plug that into the mask input. I have my list here from all elements of category. So this will sort my list into two groups. I have the in group and the out group. So the in group is the list of items where the value is true, and the out group is where they are false. So in this case, the in group is going to be all of my null values. If I hover over this, I can see here are my elements. There's a whole bunch of them that are null, and then here are the actual views themselves. So this is the one that I want to use. I want to use the out group. So I can plug that into my element name, and you'll see that warning suddenly disappears because I've removed all of my null values. So just a little tip about kind of list cleanup right there. So let me turn off all of my previews. So now I have a pretty good list of my views, and I have all of their names right here. So I'm going to take a code block. I'm going to enter some of the names of the views that I want. I'm going to get one called East Architectural. Okay, so that's a view. Let's say we want to get that view because we either want to change parameters, change the scale, add it to a sheet, whatever. So we have that name. So what I can do now is use a node called list first index of. And what that node, that's going to be found under list inspect. And this node is going to find the first index of where that item occurs in my list. So I have a list of view names. I have a view name. This will tell me the index, so in what location in the list that item occurs. So let me plug that in as item. We'll take our list here is going to be our list of views, and this should output a number, numerical value. So that's going to be number 4. So that's telling me that this text here, East Architectural, occurs at index number 4 in my list of element names. And if I take a look at it, I can see here is number 4, item number 4, or index number 4, East Architectural. So that's the number where that occurs. So this is all kind of building up to us getting that element. So I know the index. Now I can go ahead and use the get item at index node to actually get the view. So my index is coming from list first index of, and I want to use the list not from my element name. I actually want the view itself. So I can take my out from my filter by Boolean mask. That is the list of views. I'm going to plug that into my list node, and this is going to return to me the actual view, the view that I want. So we're using name and we're using first index of as a way to just get that index. Where does this item occur in the list? Once I know where that is, I can use get item at index. Now I can do this for a single view like I did here. I could also do this for multiple views. So let's say I want to get all of my elevations, and I just know what they're called. I can enter them all here in my code block. So let's do a little bit data entry. So we want our West Architectural. Don't mind my typing, and we're going to get our North and South Architectural views as well. And so that'll get us all of the 4 elevations. And again, this can be, I can have a list of anything. This could be wall types. This could be, floor plan views. This could be even sheet numbers. Anything that I want, I can use that as within this combination to get the items. It's really just this filtering that we want to do. We want to filter it against a list of all of the things in the model, and then I can use that first index of node to get it. So here I have a single, we're using the single item plugged into our item node. I'm going to take this list here of view names. I'm going to use a list create node. So I'll go to list generate. I'll get the list create. I'm going to put these items into a list, and then I'm going to plug that list into my first index of node. So I can, like I said, use a single item, or I can use a list of items. So we plug that right in here. That's getting me all the index for those items, 4, 6, 7, 5. And then when I plug that through to get item at index, it's going to return to me a list of the actual views. So hopefully this was useful. Again, this is a combination that we use actually quite a bit. Anytime we need to get something by name, we can use this combination of first index of get item at index to get the actual things that we want. All right, so hope you enjoyed this, hope you learned something, and I'll talk to you soon.